What do you guys hate? Everybody hates. And I'm saying hate for a reason because, our culture has this word hate, but I don't think that we really understand it or are very mature or responsible with the way that we handle it. I'm speaking for myself. I'm speaking in terms of my observations about Americans and when people say the word hate, how it evokes different reactions for different people. That we have a really weird relationship to the word hate because of terms like hater and hate crimes. Like, we really have this a visceral reaction just to the word hate. And I think it's important to have a talk about that and to think about what hate really means to us and how we each deal with it. I think it's really unique, the word hate, because words mean different things to different people. And you can think of the opposite of hate, which is love, and how love definitely has many different connotations and meanings. And, our language in English just has the one word love, but in other countries, they have multiple words that mean similarly love, but different forms of it. And I think that it's unfortunate that we just have the one word love, and unfortunate that we just have the one word hate. But even though they mean different things to different people, what I mean for the context of this video by hate is extreme, automatic, visceral, emotional, negative, disgusted reaction to something in our external world or just something in our world. And, I know that you can also hate yourself. So it's not just the world, it could be yourself. But an extreme, visceral, automatic, negative emotional response of dislike or disgust. And that's what I mean by hate. And everybody hates. And anybody tells you that they don't hate and, oh, I'm just a loving person. It's like, no, you feel really negatively about different things in life. And if you don't, you're super blessed. You don't have a hard life, or you've got a pretty great perspective. But in the past, you've hated. In the future, you're going to hate because we're Americans. We're not Buddhist monks. You're on the internet, and we're not completely mature as a civilization. So I think it's better to accept the reality of what we're dealing with and what we're going to deal with as we get old before we die. Like, we're going to have to deal with these feelings. And the internet being in its early stages, it's the wild west of the internet with streaming and content and the news. Even though that's older than the internet, like, it's clear to me that we have, like, sex sells, but so does hate. Like, the media makes most of its money off of showing you things that are going to trigger a hateful response within you. And I get triggered all the time. Every time I go on X, every time I go on YouTube, like, literally just dealing with people in regular life at my job, just out and about. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, especially me being a passionate, somewhat aggressive person. Um, like, there's a lot of times where I just feel like this, like this deep visceral reaction to my environment, and um, I don't want, essentially, the world to continually trigger me in the same ways over and over again without figuring out a way to actually deal with it. And I'm not going to be perfect about that, but if I have the option, I would rather be in complete control of my emotional state. And so this has sparked me, on top of just observing that, we don't, as a culture, make room for the word hate and for the experience of hate. This has caused me to feel motivated to make this video so I can express these thoughts about what I've kind of thought about hate and how we can deal with it. For me, the first step, I guess, to dealing with hate in a responsible way, I guess, would be to acknowledge when you're feeling that way. Like I said, it's an automatic, visceral, emotional, negative response of disgust or dislike. Um, and when you have a moment like that, like, you definitely need to not push it down because it's a bad feeling. Like, assigning the word bad or oh, that's bad to an automatic feeling is kind of a waste, right? Because anytime you suppress something, usually it comes out a million times again in the same way in the future, sometimes stronger. So, like, I'd rather deal with it and figure it out. So, recognizing it would be the first step. What is triggering me? Step two would be like, I think the next level of dealing with it responsibly is asking yourself exactly what about this situation is triggering me. Why am I feeling such a negative response to the situation or person? And if you really ask yourself, I found this very interesting when I thought about this. Like, if you get to the root of why you're feeling what you're feeling, it's because you're trying to find balance in a situation and you feel like this person or this thing is out of whack. Mean in other words, what you value is being compromised. I value respect. I value um us all obeying laws and getting along, and I value um peace and prosperity for others and for myself. And when I'm not feeling respected, when I'm not feeling like others are playing by the rules that I'm playing by, when someone is doing something that I would never do, those things evoke that negative, hateful response. And I think it's good to recognize what you value, because what you value is good. Being aware of the reasons behind the emotion is healthy, because it allows you to realize what about your personality um, is causing this. There's something within you. It's not just like, I hate this person because they're bad. Like, that's so surface level and low tier that it's just obviously not true when you think about it deep enough. Like, you don't just hate somebody because they're bad. You hate somebody or something because of usually an action that you find to be horrendous and not good. So it really has to do with you. There's this relationship that you have to your feelings and your perception and what you're looking at, what you're experiencing. There's a lot of you in your feelings. It's all you, right? A different person wouldn't feel the same way. So realizing like the trigger, I guess, after the recognition of what's triggering you, it's realizing like why. And um learn use these situations to learn about yourself. And for me, the third step would be, how do I protect myself against these negative emotional situations in the future? Because even though it's automatic, even though it's visceral, you feel it in your body and you can get all this adrenaline going. um it doesn't always feel great, right? It's not like awesome to feel super hateful towards anything, really. Even like eating a really terrible ice cream that you thought was going to be amazingly delicious, like it can be a bad experience, even though it's small, right? um you order a pizza and the pizza has like moldy cheese on it, like you're gonna feel pretty hateful towards the pizza and the person that made it. Let's be real. um and or like, a waiter doesn't serve you food for 30, 45 minutes after you order, like you're going to be feeling pretty angry and frustrated. So again, I'm using hate to describe all of those feelings wrapped up into having that really visceral response to something that happens to you. So the third step would be like dealing with it, right? Like, not just learning about like why. Like, obviously, like if you got a moldy pizza, the why would be like, I like good food that's hot on time, not too long after I order it. It's like, yeah, sure. But like, do you need to be feeling that level of hate every time a situation like that happens to you? Like, you could and you will if you don't grow as a person. But you don't have to let situations and things that you perceive as wrong to affect you in such a powerful way. So, uh, for me, step three, after, again, one is awareness that you're triggered. Two is the why behind what you're triggered. The three is, how can I avoid this feeling in the future if this same situation or thing happened to me, or I experienced something similar. Um, so, for example, one way that you could do that is if you hate a person or something that you're saying, like, let's say you hate drug dealers because your friend died from a fentanyl overdose, and like, if the dealer didn't sell them drugs, like, they wouldn't have died, obviously. If you can wrap your brain around the reason behind the actions of a drug dealer, then I think it's more difficult to hate that person. I watched a documentary about drug dealers, and the documentarian asked the guy, like, "Why do you go sell this on the street? Haven't you seen the people who are dying and um, left and right from this?" Like, he sold an extremely potent form of fentanyl that was killing people faster than normal fentanyl. And what he said was, "Is somebody's going to sell this drug? I'm just a cog in the wheel. If I die and I don't sell this, then someone else is just going to replace me. And I'm just trying to make ends meet, feeding my family because I grew up on the streets too." And I believe that that was an honest response. And when I thought about it, like, that made sense to me. And even if you really didn't like what they were doing, like, if you could really put yourself in that person's shoes, like, they feel completely justified in doing something that you might find evil, but they feel okay about it. And it made me realize that, like, the most evil actions in the world, right? Like, let's give an extreme example of Hitler. Hitler felt Hitler felt justified in the things that he did. Like, he felt okay, and that the things he did were not wrong. And that is very hard for people who aren't deep thinkers and are just going to never mature to, like, wrap their brains around. But it's true. Like, everybody in politics, everybody in the world, everybody who you would consider evil is doing things that they feel justified in doing. And if you really understand that and think about that and can practice putting yourself in their shoes, it really takes the edge off of that, sharp hate that you might feel towards them. I don't know if you guys watched the Joker movie um, with Joaquin Phoenix, but that was like the perfect movie about how, if you follow somebody's hard life, and if you could follow them and be a fly on the wall and see all the things that led to them doing evil deeds, uh, it would make sense to you, and you might not hate the person. You might actually feel like that's like, I'm rooting for that person. You might actually start caring about that person. And that's hard to do. I know we don't just automatically do that. Like, it takes, like, uh, a strong person to care about somebody who's committing evil. But I think that it's possible, and I think that doing that really helps us when we can broaden our perspective and understand what we're experiencing. Just to tie this into my last video, I talked about how I think the mental health crisis in America, like, the reason why it's so prevalent right now is the internet. The internet's giving us a lot of information that we don't understand. We're seeing a lot of things that we don't understand. We're seeing people who live and value different things about life, and express themselves differently. And that can be extremely triggering for us. But I really believe that if we understood more about what we were witnessing and really could wrap our brains around it, that we would feel more at peace with our world. Um, and we wouldn't feel so strongly about the things that we consider evil. We would understand them and have a place to put them in our minds and our being. So yeah, this is why I wanted to talk about hate. I think it piggybacks off of the last video. I think hate is a term we don't like to talk about in America, unless we're pointing the finger at somebody else and talking about, oh, the hate that they're doing, the evil that they're doing. But really, it lives within us, right? Like, if you're hating on somebody for hating, that's you hating them. That's what I would say it is. So we got to be responsible for our hate, our feelings, and um, be okay with it. Be okay that you're going to feel that way, even if it's not about a person. Right? I've been talking about people, but if it's like cancer, or just aspects of our world, like inanimate objects, right? Like your health, or you're feeling tired, so I hate today, right? Like I'm talking about all of that. Like we can really work with any form of hate that we have, and live a more peaceful existence if we deal with it responsibly. So I think that's enough ranting for today. I really appreciate you guys for watching again. Hope you have a good one. Bye.